Sometimes the most brilliant ideas are hidden in pretty plain sight, or in this case, buried inside a super technical patent document. So today, we're going to unpack a really clever device that could make a common surgical procedure way, way safer by solving a problem that can happen in just a fraction of a second. Okay, so picture this, a high-stakes operating room. A surgeon is doing some really delicate work, maybe shaping bone or carefully removing tissue. And the main tool they're using is a powerful, high-speed rotary tool, a lot like the one you see here. These things are basically the workhorses of modern surgery. They're incredibly precise and unbelievably fast. But here's the thing. That speed and power, as essential as they come with a risk, a big one. It's a risk that can unfold in a split second, where the very tool that's meant to heal can actually cause some serious, unexpected harm. And that is the exact problem this invention is designed to fix. All right, so to really get what the solution is, we first have to understand the problem. And it all comes down to that incredibly high-speed spin. Okay, so the specific danger here is something called tissue wrap. It happens when the smooth, non-cutting part of the tool, the shank, is spinning and it accidentally brushes up against soft tissue. That friction can instantly grab the tissue and just wrap it violently around the shaft. I mean, it's pretty much a surgeon's worst nightmare. And the real danger comes from the sheer speed we're talking about. I mean, this isn't some slow, lazy spin. These tools can hit over 75,000 revolutions per minute. At that kind of velocity, tissue wrap isn't just a maybe. It's a critical, instantaneous hazard that can cause some really serious, unintended injury. So how do you fix a problem that's literally caused by rotation? Well, you get rid of the rotation, but you still got to be able to cut. This brings us to the core concept of the patent, which is just a truly elegant mechanical solution. The absolute key here is to just change the motion. So instead of that full 360-degree spin that creates the risk of wrapping something up, this invention converts that motion into oscillation. Think of it like a really, really fast, controlled back-and-forth swing in a very safe arc. The tooltip still moves fast enough to do its job, but the shaft itself never completes a full, dangerous circle. And you know what's so incredibly clever about this? You don't need a whole new surgical system. As the patent abstract says right here, this is just an attachment. It's literally designed to clip right onto the powerful rotary tools that hospitals already own, instantly turning their dangerous rotation into a much safer oscillating motion. Okay, so how does this magic actually happen? It's a really beautiful piece of mechanical engineering, almost like a tiny, super precise engine. So let's pop the hood and see how the whole thing works. From a bird's eye view, it's a pretty straightforward chain of events. The drill's rotation comes in, that spins a crank, the crank pushes a link back and forth, that link makes another shaft, the rocker, swing. And that swinging motion, that's our safe oscillating output. So let's take a closer look at the actual parts to see how they all work together. All right, let's look at this diagram on the right here and trace the energy. It all kicks off with a crankshaft. You can see it there, part number 180. This is player number 1. Power from the surgical drill comes in and just spins this component, kind of like a crank in a car's engine. Okay, so that crankshaft is spinning. Now follow the motion to the next piece, the intermediate link. That's number 200. As the crank turns, its off-center connection point just pushes and pulls this link. And this right here is the magic moment. This is where that circular rotational motion starts to get converted into a back-and-forth movement. And finally, that push-pull action gets sent to the last piece in our little puzzle, the rocker shaft, which is 190. Now, because of how it's connected, it can't do a full spin. It can only swing, or rock. This forces the shaft to move back and forth in that very precise oscillating arc that makes the tool safe. And there you have it. Rotation in, oscillation out. Just a super elegant piece of mechanical design. But wait, there's more. The innovation here doesn't just stop with one design. A really well-written patent will often anticipate different ways to get to the same goal, which makes the whole invention that much stronger. This is really the mark of great engineering and solid patenting. The inventors didn't just stumble upon one solution, they really explored the concept. It just goes to show that the core idea, turning rotation into oscillation, is actually really versatile. So check this out. On the left, you've got the crank rocker system we just walked through. But over on the right, from another drawing in the patent, is a totally different way to do it, using cams. In this version, these specially shaped loaves on a spinning shaft push against followers, which forces them to move back and forth and create that same, safe, oscillating motion. Two completely different mechanical paths that both lead to the exact same life-saving result. So cool. Okay, so let's zoom out from the technical drawings for a second and talk about what this really means for the people who matter most in that room, the surgeon and, of course, the patient. This thing has a huge real-world impact. First, and most importantly, patient safety. It just skyrockets by pretty much eliminating the risk of tissue wrap. For the surgeon, the oscillating motion is way more predictable, way more controlled. And you gotta love this. It's cost-effective. It's an attachment, not a whole new expensive machine. And get this. They even thought to add counterweights, you see them there, 180, to balance the moving parts. That reduces vibration and makes it easier on the surgeon. That's not just smart, that's thoughtful engineering. You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one simple principle, stated perfectly right here in the patent, to convert the rotational movement of one part to the oscillatory movement of another. That one single sentence, that's the mechanical heart of this whole thing. What's so amazing to me is that this isn't, some kind of brand new, undiscovered physics. I mean, this incredible, life-saving surgical tool is using the same basic ideas you'd find in, like, a car engine or a sewing machine. It really proves that so much of innovation is just about looking at something ordinary and seeing an extraordinary new use for it. And that just makes you wonder, right? What everyday mechanism out there is just waiting for someone to look at it differently and turn it into the next big leap forward in medicine?